Hi guys, Ms. Berg again. I am going to be skipping 6, 8. We're not doing that at all. So we're actually going to be going to 6, 9. So that is going to be our next lesson to go over, and it's going to be problem solving with addition and subtraction of mixed numbers and fractions. So I am going to be flipping this around. And we will start here. All right, so it says the Diaz family is cross-country skiing the Big Tree Trails, which have a total length of 4 miles. Yesterday, they skied 7/10 of Oak Trail. Today, they skied 3/5 of Pine Trail. And if they plan to ski all of the Big Tree Trails, how many more miles do they have to ski? So here is what we need to be looking at. I really like how they set up this. Remember, the total amount was 4 miles. So this was 4 miles was the total amount of miles that these trails were. So they said that they know that they have to do a little more to get to their 4 miles, but we're going to go and set this up. What did they do first? They skied 7/10. So we're going to put 7/10. And then what did they ski today? So today they skied 3/5 of a mile. All right. And then plus some more to get to 4 miles total. So what we have to do here is what we should do is first we should add these two first to figure out what that comes out to be. Then when we figure out what this comes out to be, then we actually have to kind of work backwards here and figure out what is still left over. So in order to do that, then you have to take your 4 miles and subtract off what is figured out here to figure out what needs to be left. So in other words, some people could even do 4. Then you subtract off what they did today, which was 3/5, and then they would just subtract off 7/10 as well. That is another thing that they could do. But in all reality, I think it might be easier just to add up these two and then only subtract it once. So actually, I am going to be doing it a little different. I'm going to take 4. And then I'm going to subtract off everything that I know that they have done so far. So they did 3/5 plus 7/10. So this is what they've already done. So first thing that we need to do is we need to come up with a common denominator. So here, these are not common. We could do the quick way and just change them to 50ths, or you could look at the bigger of the two, which is 10. And then you can see, can I get a 5 up to a 10? And I can. So I am going to change these to tenths. This would be 7/10 plus, what do you do to a 5 to get it to 10? You times it by 2 and you times this by 2. So that would be 6/10. So once you figure that up, that comes out to be 13/10, which you cannot have. So we should divide that out to figure out what 13/10 truly is. So 10 can go into 13 one time. That would be 10. When you subtract, that would be 3. So the mixed number here is 1 and then 3/10. So actually they have skied 1 and 3/10 so far. So in order to figure this out, I'm going to come back up here and say that this total amount comes to be 1 and 3/10. So therefore, in order to figure out what needs to be remaining, I need to subtract these two. So that is what I'm going to be doing next. I'll do it up here. 4 minus 1 3/10. All right, so first thing is first. Remember, this is how many slices of pizza I have out ready for my customer. This is what my customer wants. Well, here I have nothing out for my customer, and they want it in tenths, and they want 3 slices of those tenths. So I don't have anything for them, so I have to go to the back, get a pizza. Here's my pizza. I'm making it. There it is. I'm going to make my customer happy and give them what they want, which is in tenths. So if I cut my pizza up into tenths, one whole pizza would be 10 out of 10 slices. So now can I get, if I have 10 slices, can I now give up 3? I can. So 10 minus 3 is 7/10. And then I look at my wholes, that would be 3 minus 1 is 2. So therefore my answer is 2 7/10 is what is left. So 2 7/10 is needed left to see for them. All right, next. Number 2 says, as a part of their studies of Native American basket weaving, Lila's class is making wicker baskets. Lila starts with a strip of wicker 36 inches long. From that strip, she first cuts one piece, but does not know that length. Then she cuts a piece that is 6.5 inches long. The piece left is 7 3/4 inches long. What is the length of the first piece that she cut from that strip? Okay, so what we need to go back into and look at this, it says she starts with a strip that is a wicker that is 36 inches long total. So it comes out to be 36 inches tall. First, she is going to cut a strip. She just doesn't know what that amount is. So we can come up with like a variable. We don't know what this number is. Then she cuts another piece that is 6.5 inches. So we know what that one is. And then she also has a piece left that is 7 3/4. So when you add up all of these, it should come out to be 36. The thing is, we don't know what n is. So how could we figure this out? Well, what you could do is you could first add up what all of this comes out to be. And then once you figure it out, you can then subtract it away from 36. So in this case, if I did 36, then I'm going to subtract off whatever the total is from up here. That will give us what is left and remaining. So that is what I'm going to do first. I'm first going to add up this to figure out what that comes out to be. Before I do that, I'm going to do that over here in this big section over here. So 6.5 plus 7 3/4. So first of all, I'm going to look at my fractions. Can I add up those fractions as they are? You should be saying no, because the denominators are not the same. So it is up to you whether you want to do the quick way of doing 4 times 2 and changing everything to eighths. But my way, I'm just going to pick the bigger of the two, which is 4. And I'm going to see, can a 2 get up to a 4? Yes, it can. So therefore, I'm just going to change these to fourths because that's less work for me. Because this one is already in fourths. I don't have to change anything. This one, to change it to fourths, I'm going to times the top and the bottom by 2. Because 2 times what will give you 4? 2 times 2 will. So if I times this by 2, I must do the same to my numerator. And now I can go ahead and add these up. So 2 plus 3 is 5/4, and then 13. Okay, but can we have this? No, we cannot. So what we need to do is we need to separate these out. This is 13 holes. There's nothing wrong with the 13 holes. The only thing that is wrong is that there's an improper fraction within it. So we got to figure out what that improper fraction truly is. So how many 4s go into 5? That would be 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract, that would be 1. So therefore, my mixed number here would be 1 and 1 over 4. So 1 over 4. So plus 1 and 1/4. That comes out to be a total of 14 and 1/4. So now what we know that it is now 14 and 1/4 is what the strips came out to be so far. So in order to figure out what is left is we need to subtract 36 minus the 14 and 1/4 to figure out what the missing number is. So that is what I'm going to do over here. 36 minus 14 and 1/4. Okay, so remember, this is how many slices are out for my customers. There are none, and they come in wanting 1 out of the 4 slices. So in this case, I have to go to the back because I don't have any slices for them. I'm going to get a pizza. So now I only have 35 pizzas back there. I'm going to make up this pizza. Remember, I'm going to make them happy by putting it how many slices they want out of the pizza, which is in 4ths. So a whole pizza, if it was cut up into 4ths, is 4 out of the 4 slices. So now can I give up 1? Yes, I can. So 4 minus 1 is 3 out of the 4. And now I just look at my whole numbers. 5 minus 4, can I do that? Yes, that would be 1. And 3 minus 1 is 2. So therefore, the missing amount is 21 3/4 inches. So 21 3/4 inches. All right, here we go. The next one says Caitlin has 4 3/4 pounds of clay, and she uses 1 1/10 pounds to make a cup and another 2 pounds to make a jar. How many pounds are left? Okay, so remember, it comes out to be a total. She only has 4 3/4 pounds of clay. And then what she has already used, she used, so if you're using, that means you're going to be subtracting. You're going to use some, you're subtracting it off. So she used 1 1/10 pounds. But then is that all she used? No, she also used 2 more pounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up how much she used first, and then that means I'll only subtract it off once instead of, or you could have done taking this, subtracting this off, and then whatever's left over, then subtract 2 wholes. Or you could just add up everything that she used first. So that is what I did. I'm going to be adding up everything that she used first and then only subtract it once. So she used 2 plus 1 and 1/10. So 2 plus 1 and 1/10. All right, so we're adding. So I have nothing and then 1/10. Well, that means I only have 1/10 of a pizza. And then here we're adding. So then that comes out to be 3 1/10. So 3 1/10 is used. So in order to do this, we need to come up with a common denominator. A lot of people may choose to do the quick way, and we could do the quick way, or we could do my way, which is going by multiples of 10 until a 4 can go into it. I would, I guess I've been using my way the whole time, so I'm going to switch it over And I'm going to do just the quick way on this one. So the quick way is to come up with a common denominator. The quick way was just to multiply those two. So if you multiply those two, that would be 40ths. So what do I do to a 4 to get it to 40? I times it by 10 and I times this by 10. So that would be 30 40ths and then 4 wholes. Then what do I do to a 10 to get it to 40? I times it by 4 and this by 4. So then that would be 4 40ths and then 3 wholes still remain. All right, now what is 30 minus 4? Can I do that? I sure can. So that would come out to be 26 because 30 minus 4, can I have 0 and take away 4? No, I cannot. So then this would be a 2 and this would be a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6 and then 2 minus nothing is 2. So this is 26 over 40 and then 4 minus 3 is 1. So therefore the answer is 1 and 26 40ths. If you did it in 20ths, you should have gotten 1 and 13 20ths. Okay, sorry. This would be 1 and 13 20ths if you put it into 20ths. So this is one of the two answers to that. Okay, so the next thing says, well, what if Caitlin had used more than 2 pounds of clay to make a jar? Would that amount have been more or less than your answer in exercise 1? So say that it was that she really used, say we can say more than, so we can say like 3 pounds. So if she used 3 pounds, we would really be subtracting off 1 more pound here because she's going to use an additional 1. So if I did that, what would my answer come out to be? It would come out to be 13 20ths or 26 40ths. So was that more or less than exercise 1? That is actually less because she used a little bit more. So therefore my answer should come out to be less than my exercise 1 answer. All right, next it says a pet store owner donated 50 pounds of food for adult dogs, puppies, and cats to the animal shelter. 19 3/4 were for adult dog food. Then 18 7/8 pounds were puppy food. How many pounds of cat food did the pet store donate? All right, so in this case, remember it said that they did adult dog plus puppy food and then plus cat food will equal a total of 50 pounds. That's truly what's happening here. So then they gave us some numbers. So for the adult dog food, it was 19 3/4. And then the puppy food was 18 7/8 plus the cat food. I'm just going to say C for cat food because we don't know what it is going to equal 50 pounds. So in order to do this first, I should go ahead and add these up first. Then after I add that up, then I'm going to subtract off whatever this number is from 50 to figure out my unknown number. So that is what I'm going to be doing here. But before I do, I think it would be my best interest to change up the denominator right now before I get further into it. So I'm just going to pick the bigger of the two, which is 8. Can I get a 4 to an 8? I sure can. So therefore, I'm going to change these to eighths. So what do I do to a 4 to get it to an 8? I have to times it by 2. So if I times that by 2, I must do the same to my numerator. 3 times 2 is 6. So that would be 19 and 6/8 plus. This is just going to be the same. It is not going to change. So now I'm going to go ahead and add. This would be 7 plus 6 is 13/8. And then 19 plus 18 would be 17, carrier 1, and that would be 3. So that would be 37 and 13/8. And can we have that? You should be saying no. We cannot have an improper fraction. So therefore, I'm going to separate out the two because the 37 is fine. There's nothing wrong with 37 whole pizzas or pounds. The issue is this 13/8. So let's figure out what 13/8 comes out to be. How many 8s go into 13? It is only once. So when you subtract 13 minus 8, comes out to be 5 remaining. So therefore, my answer is 1 and 5/8. So plus 1 and 5/8. So what is 37 plus 1 and 5/8? That would come out to be 38 wholes and then 5/8 because we are adding. All right, but here is how much total that came out to be. So this came out to be 38 and 5/8. So in order to figure out how much is left of cat food, I have to take off this from 50 to figure out what is remaining. So now I'm going to subtract off 38 and 5/8. All right, here we go. So this is how much pizza slices I have. I have none, and my customer wants 5 out of 8 slices. So I have to go to the back, and I got to make a pizza, take a pizza, and I'm going to make it. Here I just made it. Now there's only 49 holes back there. I'm going to cut it up just how they want it, which is an 1/8. So if it's cut up into 8s, one whole pizza when it's cut up into 8s is 8 out of 8 slices. Now, can I have 8 and take away 5? Yes, I can. So 8 minus 5 is 3/8. And then 9 minus 8 is 1. And 4 minus 3 is 1. So actually, it comes out to be 11 3/8 pounds. So 11 3/8 pounds of cat food. All right, next, it says Thelma spent 1/6 of her weekly allowance on dog toys, 1/4 on a dog collar, and 1/3 on dog food. What fraction of her weekly allowance is left? All right, now this is a good question. So I'm going to be doing this one with you guys. Here's the thing. It says that she spent her weekly allowance. 1/6 plus 1/4 plus 1/3 is what she's going to end up spending. So here's the thing. We have 3 fractions. And this is when I really like my multiple way of finding a common denominator, because when you try to find a common denominator with 3, it's going to get pretty ugly. So if you take my way to do these ones that have 3 at a time, it might be easier for you, which is finding the bigger of the 3, which is 6. And we're going to go by multiples of 6 until both a 3 and a 4 go into that multiple of 6. So here we go. Can 3 go evenly into 6? Yes, it can. But can a 4 go evenly into 6? And that is a no. So now we have to go by multiples of 6. So the next multiple of 6 would be 6 times 2, which is 12. Now, can I get a 3 to a 12? Yes. Can I get a 4 to a 12? Then that would be a yes. So we're going to change everything to 12ths. So that's going to be a 12, this is going to be a 12, and this one is going to be a 12. So what do you do to a 6 to get it to 12? You gotta times it by 2, and you times the top by 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Then what do you do to a 4 to get it to 12? You times it by 3, and this by 3. So that would be 3/12. And then here, what do I do to a 3 to get it to 12? I times it by 4, and I times this one by 4. All right, then I go ahead and add. That comes out to be 9/12 is what she spends of the weekly allowance. The problem is we don't know what her weekly allowance is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say that like a weekly allowance is like one whole weekly allowance. Then I'm going to subtract off 9/12 because a whole would be this. So here's the thing. How many slices do I have out for them? I don't have any. So now I'm going to have to go over into the back, which now there's going to be 0 pizzas back there. I'm going to now satisfy my customer and cut it up into 12ths. So one whole pizza cut up into 12ths would be 12/12. All right, so now can I subtract off 9? 12 minus 9, yes, that would be 3/12 is remaining of her whole allowance. So this is perfectly good enough for you to say 3/12 is left after that. So you could have said 1 whole minus everything that she has spent, which came out to be 9/12. So when you subtracted it, it would have been 3/12. Now, can it be reduced? Yes. 3 can go into both top and bottom. So that would be 1/4 is also another way of saying that. All right. So next thing. It says Martin is making a model of Native American canoe. He has 5.5 feet of wood. He uses 2 3/4 feet for the hull and 1 1/4 feet for the paddle. How much wood does he have left? Okay, so it says he has a 5.5. But he uses, that means you're going to subtract off 2 3/4. But is that all he uses? No. And this is where there's an issue. And he uses this much. So it's not just one thing that he uses, but also he uses 1 1/4. So we should add this first to figure out how much total that comes out to be. Then we will only subtract it once. Or what you could have done is you could have done 5.5 minus 2 3/4. Get that answer and then subtract off another 1 1/4 to get your answer as well. You could do that as well. But here, if I use this way, these ones are already in fourths, so now I can go ahead and add. So 1 plus 3 is 4/4, and then how many wholes? That is 2 plus 1, which is 3. Now here's the issue. When I have 4/4, I need to figure out what that really means. Well, how many 4s go into 4? That would be 1 whole. 1 times 4 is 4 with nothing remaining. So therefore that comes out to be a whole. So 3 plus really a whole means that 4 feet of it is gone. So we're actually going to take 5.5 and subtract off 4 whole feet. and figure out what is remaining. So can I have a half and subtract off nothing? So if I have a half of a pizza and my customer wants nothing, what is left? Well, I can do that. It just means there's still a half of a pizza sitting there. Then my customer comes in and I only have 5 whole pizzas, but they want 4. So that means I will only have 1 left after they do that. So this is what would be left, 1.5. All right, I'm just gonna quickly just talk about these really fast. But there's really no fractional part to this, which that's why I'm going to go quickly over this and how you would do it. So Beth's family vacation lasted 87 days. At the beginning of her vacation, she spent some time at the soccer camp, 5 days at grandma's house, and 13 days visiting Glacier National Park with her parents. Then she had 48 remaining days. How many weeks did she spend at the soccer camp? All right, so remember, it all came to be 87 days total. So from the beginning, she did not know how much time she spent at soccer camp. So we're going to say N, we don't know. But then she spent 5 days at grandma's. Then 13 of those 87 days were at a national park. And then it said then after she still had 48 days remaining of her 87. So we got to figure out how many days was she gone to the soccer camp? Well, if you added up all of these, that would have been, just to make this go a little faster, that would have been 66 days. So in order to figure out what is remaining over here, what you should do is you should do 87 and minus 66. Well, when you do that, that becomes a 1, and this becomes 21. But the thing was, there are 21 days. But that is not what the question is saying. We know that this is 21 days, but it said how many weeks. So now we got to figure out how many days are in a week. There are 7 days in a week. So we're going to divide this by 7 to figure out how many weeks that is. So how many 7s go into 21? That would be 3. So therefore, your answer is 3 weeks. All right, next, it says you can buy 2 DVDs for the price that you would pay for 3 CDs selling at $13.20 a piece. So explain how you could find the price of just 1 DVD. All right, well, in order to do this, it's saying that you could buy 2 for the same price as this. 3 CDs selling for $13.20 a piece. So in order to figure out what that comes to, I would take $13.20. And then it says a piece. Well, that was a piece is just 1, but we didn't just buy 1, we bought 3. So if you figure out what that is, it comes out to be $39.60, just to make this go a little faster. So now to figure out just what 1 DVD would be, it says I would then, remember, don't forget, it says this is for 2 DVDs, is the same price as this. So we just want to figure out what 1 is. So in order to figure out what 1 is, I would then take this number and divide it 2 ways to figure out what just 1 would be. So 1 DVD, and it comes out to be $19.80. All right, you will have number 8 for, I want you just to try that on your own. So go ahead and pause this video. They want you to use the symbols to make an equation, and using these symbols right here. So please pause it and try this on your own. All right, so if you paused it, like you should have, you could have done it like this. Oh, I did not listen to instructions. It would have been an X. So in order to do this, you would have to add these two fish plus an unknown third fish, which is X, is going to equal your 23.5 pounds. So what you should have done here is you should have added this together, which would have been 15 7/8. And then you could have subtracted the difference between these two to figure out what is remaining. So if you did that, it would have came out to be 7 5/8. So that was your answer to that. All right, so your homework is going to be 2 and 4 on this page. I am going to help you out and do number 3 with you. So number 3 says Maddie's house consists of 2 stories and an attic. The first floor is 8 5/6 feet tall, and the second floor is 8 1/2 feet tall, and the entire house is 24 1/3 feet tall. So how tall is the attic? All right, so it's saying that there is a first floor plus a second floor plus an attic is going to come out to a total of 24 1/3 feet. So they're telling us what is some of the floors. So the first floor is 8 5/6 feet, plus the second floor is 8 1/2 feet, plus the attic, which we don't know, so I'm just going to say A for attic, is needs to be equal to 24 1/3 feet. So how should we go about doing this? Well, to go about doing this, first, what I would do is I would add these two first. Then once you figure out that, then you can subtract it from 24. So that is just another way to say that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, 24 minus 24 1/3 minus what the total of 8 5/6 and 8 1/2 is. All right, so here's the thing. I know that I have 3 fractions already. So to save some time, I'm just going to change them all to common denominators right away. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to find the bigger of the 3, which is a 6. And I am going to see if I could get a 2 to a 6. Can I get 2 times something equals 6? And I can. So can I do the same with 3? Can I get a 3 up to a 6 as well? And the answer is yes, I can. So I'm going to change these all to 6. So I'm going to change this to 6, this to 6, and this to 6. This is just to save some time later on to changing to common denominators later. So since this one is already in 6, I am just going to be bringing it on down. There is no changing it. It's already in 6. But here, what do I do to a 2 to get it to a 6? I times it by 3. So I must do the same to my numerator. 3 times 1 is 3. And then that is 8. So what this comes out to be is 5 plus 3 is 8/6. And then 16 wholes. 8 plus 8 is 16. But the thing is, can I have this? I cannot. So I have to figure out what this comes out to be in the long run. So over here, actually, I'm going to do that down here. How many 6s can go into 8? That would be 1. 1 times 6 is 6, so I'm going to subtract. That would be 2 6. So that would be 1 and 2 6. So 1 and 2 6 plus 16 wholes comes out to be 17 and 2 6. All right, so when I added this all up, it came out to be 17 and 2 6. So now what do I need to do? I need to subtract these two. So that is what I'm going to be doing next. And I'll do that down here. Oh, I need to change this to 6. So before I go any farther, what do I do to a 3 to get it to 6? I'm going to times it by 2 and this by 2. So that would be 2 6. And then 24 wholes. So here, 24 and 2 6 minus 17 and 2 6. So if I had 2 6 of a pizza and my customer wants 2 6, can I give that to them? I certainly can, and there will be nothing left. So then I can go over to my wholes, and can I have 4 and take away 7? No, I cannot. So I'm going to have to come over and borrow. So what is 14 minus 7? It is 7 wholes. So therefore, my answer is 7 feet is what my attic is. All right, so if you need more space, you got a little bunch of space down here. You could even run it into here since I'm not doing it. But I am just going to quickly talk about this. It says Marcy bought 50 roll feet of packing tape. She used 2 8 and 5/6 foot lengths. How much tape is left? So this is the biggest thing. She did 8 and 5/6 plus another 8 and 5/6 plus an unknown amount is going to equal our 50. So first you should have added this, and then after you add it, you subtract it from 50 to figure out your remaining total. And that's how you figure that one out. So, but I am not going to do that. I was just discussing it really fast. Then the back of this, I'm going to do number 1 with you. It says Paula spent 3/8 of her allowance on clothes and 1/6 on entertainment. What fraction of her allowance did she spend on other items? So remember, it's telling you she spent from her whole allowance, she spent 3/8 plus 1/6. So it says her whole, her allowance. Well, we don't know what that is. So we're just going to say 1 as like 1 whole allowance. And then we're going to subtract off what she used. So we could just do the quick way of this if you would like, which is just multiply these two and change them to 48. I'll just do that here. What do I do to an 8 to get it to 48? I times it by 6. And I times this by 6. So that would be 18 48ths. What would I do to a 3 to get it to 48? I do the opposite, which is timesing it by 8. 8 times 1 is 8. So when you add these, that comes out to be 26 over 48. All right, so now we're going to do 1 whole allowance minus what she spent. So up here, I'm going to do that. 1 whole minus 26 over 48. All right, so here's the thing. This is how many slices I have out for my customers. I have nothing, and they come in wanting 26 slices. So can I do that? I cannot. So I have to go into the bag. I got to make up my pizza. There is now 0 holes back there. I'm going to cut it up just like they want it, which is in 48 slices. So what would be a whole pizza when it comes to 48 slices? That would be 48. So now if there are 48, can I take away 26? And I sure can. So 8 minus 6 is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2 over 48. So this is good enough. Also, if you did do it into 24ths, you could have saw that you could also reduce this down by dividing it by 2 to both top and the bottom. If you did divide it by 2 to both top and the bottom, it comes out to be 11/24. So you could have said either of these two answers. So it would have been either 22/48 or 11/24 is what was left that she can spend on other items. All right, on this page, you're going to do 2, 3, 5, and 6. So that is what you will be doing on 6, 9. Okay, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.